Welcome to the Gear Slime, your one-stop shop for all things guitar culture nonsense. I'm Jay.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Cole.
We slam it hard, so you bloody well don't have to.
Roy!
Was there another bit there that I missed? I got to the end of the sentence and I was like, hang on, there's something else I'm supposed to say here.
You paused
Every
before
time
you said your name.
I feel the same
Okay.
way.
Okay, fine.
But it was
I feel the same
when
way
Aaron
every
does
time
it.
I do it.
When Aaron does it, he just immediately says, "I'm Aaron."
Okay, fine.
Says the name.
We just don't know what to do when he's not here to say, "I'm Aaron." That's
Yeah.
Because there's
So
not
all the
like a
pieces-
we don't have like an established hierarchy, you know.
Yeah.
Well, but exactly.
Or
But
an
it's
order.
like we all know that there's an order that we always do it, and it always starts with him saying, "I'm Aaron."
Yeah.
So it's like we're always like, wait, who did... So that was it. You nailed it.
Okay, cool. Thanks. They won't let me do it on Guitar Nerds,
Okay,
so
so-
you know, I've never hosted it. Actually, I think I did once, and I just like completely ballsed up the intro. So that was it, one and done. You know, it's brutal. It's brutal.
Because that's
out
the
there,
most
let me tell ya.
important. The most important aspect of a podcast is that you can have a consistent intro, right?
Exactly,
That's what
exactly.
people
That's
need.
that's what figures out those iTunes ratings.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a cliffhanger at the end of the last episode because we were going to talk about football.
Yeah.
Because I've been dying to hear your take on some
Oh
recent
my God.
happenings
Okay.
in the European football world.
Okay.
Oh,
So
this
as
is
far as
going
I
to be very
understand it, and here's where you
interesting
can
to our viewer.
the people are going to let this is I think this might be interesting to a lot of people. As far as I understand it, and I think this is an amazing system, and I think more American sports should work this way, is that there are like multiple leagues, you know, multiple minor leagues. So it's the same way with like baseball in America, but depending on how you do every year or however often, if you're like the worst team in a certain league, you'll go down a league, and if you're the best team, you might go up a league or whatever. And it's relegation, right? When you get dumped down.
Relegation and promotion.
And then
that's
is
right.
it promotion or something?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So a couple weeks ago, a whole bunch of very rich people took the very richest teams and then a couple others and decided to make this thing called the Super League, which is basically like a decision. And European football, soccer, is like such a huge part of the culture. It's a part of, you know, a lot of people, it's a big part of their identity, and it's a big, you know, it's part of where you're from and all that stuff. And this basically removed every aspect, every human element of it, and was basically like, these are the richest teams. We want to make the most money, and so screw everyone else.
Yeah, so
essentially.
That's basically what happened. And although there's kind of a caveat there in the when they initially announced it, so the European Super League, so it was 12 teams, basically the 12 richest clubs. There's a couple of others who weren't involved. So go on.
But Tottenham is your favorite team, right?
Yes. But so Tottenham Hotspur, which is
I wanted your opinion.
Yeah, so Spurs that's who I support.
One of the ones who like they're kind of one of the ones who were like not an obvious choice to join, right? They were one of like some of them are obviously
in terms of like yeah. So like you've got Man United
clubs.
and Liverpool and Real Madrid and Barcelona and you know, but
Juventus.
actually Juventus and so it was there were 6 clubs from England, which is Tottenham, Arsenal, Man City, Man United, Chelsea and Liverpool. Then 3 teams from Spain, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid and Real Madrid. 3 teams from Italy, which is AC Milan, Inter Milan and Juventus. And what was weird was that Bayern Munich, who are the big German team, and Borussia Dortmund, who are kind of the next. There's like 2 or 3 kind of that hover around where Bayern Munich are like, they win the league most years. And then there's Borussia Dortmund and RB Leipzig. And PSG, Paris Saint-Germain in France, they weren't involved. And it since came out that they were kind of off.
Is that still just because of World War II? Is it still like Germany? No, this is.
Well, no, actually. So it's funny. It's actually that because German society is kind of a bit more. The clubs they've got like this rule called 50+1, where basically the clubs have to be at least 50% owned by the fans, so it can't be owned by like a conglomerate, or it can't be owned just by like one rich geezer essentially. And so
rich guy from Dubai or whatever.
Exactly, yeah. Which is how a lot of the other teams are like owned. Like Man City are owned by the like Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, essentially. And
that's why Manchester United is unique in that sense, right? Because aren't they kind of owned by the people?
No, they are. No, they're not. No, they're owned by the Glazer family, who are a American billionaire family.
I was thinking there was one of the teams that was like one of the British teams that was owned by.
No. Unfortunately, no. All of the British teams are like Chelsea's owned by Roman Abramovich, who's like a Russian oil billionaire.
Just billionaires.
Yeah. Spurs are owned by Joe Lewis, who's again like a British billionaire. Yeah. Arsenal are owned by Stan Kroenke, who also owns the LA Rams. Right? Is that Probably. LA Rams is? Yeah, they were the ones who moved from St. Louis, right?
LA Rams are no longer a thing.
Yes.
I know that much.
Did they move back to St. Louis? Is that what happened?
Well, funny. This shows how plugged in Phil is with sports. The LA Rams are a thing again.
Wait, they are?
LA Raiders, but now the Raiders moved to Las Vegas, I think.
Weren't the Raiders were somewhere else though, weren't they? Raiders were
they were Oakland for a long time.
Oakland,
the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
Raiders.
Yeah.
So anyway, the long and the short of it is, it was a complete nightmare. So I missed most of the initial furore because I was in the hospital. I just had like a minor operation a couple of weeks ago, and this all happened like after I woke up from this operation. I had a really bad reaction to the anesthetic, and I'm waking up just like with all these texts from my mates being like, "What is going on?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, I don't know, man. Oh, yeah."
Like, I literally
what can I tell you? And but yeah, literally, I didn't know. So the whole idea of like a European Super League has been talked about for decades. Like they talked about this in the 80s, and it never came of anything. And essentially, the rich teams want more control over how the game is managed, and they don't think that UEFA or FIFA, which are the governing bodies, are paying enough attention to like what the clubs and what the people want. And what, to a degree, they're correct. Like there are things that are just wrong about what's going on with the management of football. But the way that these teams kind of managed to go about it was like, yes, see, look, all of these complaints. We need more money, please. And they wanted to be able to have like a closed shop. They didn't want the risk of, it wasn't so much promotion and relegation, but so as well as having the domestic leagues, there's also European competitions that go on every year. And the depending on the caliber of the league, between 1 and 4 teams from each country go into the Champions League each year. And what this has all come from is the fact that like Real Madrid, who are the ones who kind of spearheaded this campaign, they say that they're not making enough money from the Champions League. They're the big name and they should have more money, and it should be tiered more favorably towards them. And exactly. And if they don't get into the Champions League one year, or if they don't get as far as they are expecting to, which is the final each year, they can't afford to run. They can't afford to be a football team. And they're saying, if we don't have this money, we won't be a football team. And without us being a football team, you're not going to have as many people watching. Now, that is completely at odds with how kind of European football is set up, which is, it's a meritocracy. And like, there's no reason why I couldn't go and start a football club in another football club in Brighton where I live, and there's no reason
Yeah.
logistically
Just
why I
start
couldn't.
climbing the ranks.
Exactly. And, in 20 years' time, J Cross FC, which is probably a little bit too much of a, arrogant name, but we'll work on the name later. There's no reason why we couldn't be in the Champions League. There's no reason, because everyone is offered the same opportunities. And what they were trying to do was just ensure this closed shop. And it's just nonsense, because sure, Real Madrid and Barcelona and Spurs are up there as like the big, popular, successful clubs now, but that wasn't the case 20 years ago. It's the same as all sports. 20 years ago, you would have been looking at, or 30 years ago, you would have been looking at Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday and all these other clubs that people don't know about nowadays, because they're not in the Premier, they're not in the top division. They had their time and they kind of dwindled down. And why is it fair that a team like Spurs or Real Madrid or Barcelona gets to anchor themselves at the pinnacle of sport forever, when they should? And that's actually something that I've never understood about American sports, about how, like, you can be the worst team year on year on year on year, and it don't matter. And in fact, look at the Sixers and the whole like trust the process thing. Like, they actively pushed to be the worst team in the league for a few years so that they could build up all of these first round drafts.
Get the best draft picks.
Exactly. And it, like, that has never really made sense to me, but it's I know that it's a completely different way of looking at things, but yeah,
it's a very American. It's a very American system to allow the rich to stay rich in spite of themselves, I think.
Yeah.
There's nothing more American than that.
I guess so. Yeah. and that's kind of what's been blamed on the European Super League, is the fact that, there's quote unquote too much American influence in European football now. And it's just like, it's not that at all. It's,
it is hilarious.
It's just the way that capitalism works at the end of the day,
now,
isn't it?
Haven't most of the teams pulled out now?
Yeah, basically everyone pulled out almost immediately, at least over the first couple of days, except for the Spanish clubs. They stayed and they were like, no, this is what's going to happen. And then
what happened, guys? We're all in this together.
And Florentino Perez is the owner, or the chairman, or I don't know if he's the owner of Real Madrid, but he's in charge of Madrid. He basically just kind of took a step back from it and went, I don't know what you guys are all doing. You've all signed a contract. You're all competing in it. I don't know what your problem is. You're all doing it. And the issue is that UEFA and FIFA basically said, you can't do this. And if you do this, we will kick you out of the Premier League. We'll kick you out of La Liga and the domestic leagues. And also we won't allow your players. Well, we won't allow your players to compete in the World Cup. So, what's the point of watching the World Cup or the Euros if you haven't got, the Harry Kanes and all the big name players playing there? Like, it would just be a weird. So obviously people kicked off about it, and there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Football has got like all aspects of society, football's got a terrible racism problem, and football fans have got terrible reputation, and rightly a terrible reputation, because people are awful. And what's interesting is right now, this weekend, there's like a big social media boycott going on throughout like the world, throughout at least European football. And actually it's drifted over into other sports, but in the UK, there's like a complete blackout from any social media, because like the Premier League and a bunch of the other sports have said, look, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you're not doing enough to combat abuse and hate from people towards our players. And if you don't do something about it, we're just going to stop using your platforms. And so there's a complete boycott going on at the moment, which is, personally, I don't think they've gone far enough. I don't think they've been kind of explicit enough with their demands. They've just said, oh, please, can you do something about this? Whereas I think they should say, do something about this immediately and come up with a strategy to stop our players being racially abused or, getting homophobic. Because like, you know what it's like. Like if you post a clip from a sporting event, and like a pirated clip of a sporting event on Twitter, or if you post a clip from, the unreleased, or like even just the newly released Marvel movie on Twitter, it gets flagged and it gets taken down immediately.
Yeah,
So
like they know
they
how
know
to
what's good.
control
They
stuff.
know how to do it, but they're just not doing it. And
Exactly.
so there are issues with it, and you know, by no means are Spurs, and it's rubbish. Like there's the
It's interesting because that is still, it's kind of reminiscent of how hockey still is, because it's a sport that has historically just been dominated by rich white people, basically,
Mhm.
you know, where like a lot of American sports have been dominated by people of color for decades. So
Yeah.
like, sure, Boston fans are all still, you know, known for being very racist, but it's not as like, it's the bigger thing in the US is women's sports. Anytime somebody posts a clip of any women's sport, like softball, WNBA, whatever it is, half the comments are like, oh, this is what, nobody likes women aren't as good, blah blah blah. And it's like,
Yeah.
get over it. They did something amazing. It doesn't matter that, like, you know, it's different from men's basketball
Completely.
or whatever.
And it's the same here. It's absolutely the same here. And you know, they've gone some way to kind of like the kind of sporting establishments have gone some way to trying to like even the playing field a little bit, like the Women's Champions League. So like the European competition for all the best women's teams around Europe. They're now shown on Sky and BT, which are the big sports broadcasters over here. So they get billed equally, and a lot of the men's sports will have like usually like they'll have an ex football player from the men's game and an ex football player from the women's game will be like involved in the punditry from the broadcasters. And you know, there's definitely steps being taken to kind of do the right thing, but it
is like a reminder that like the only thing that anyone cares about in all this is money, and that's all that's going to control it ultimately, you know.
Right.
Like, it's completely sad, but that's how every sport is. Like we get emotionally invested in it, but then you're reminded that like, well, the real thing that you know, the only thing that really matters is money.
I think it's also important to like look inwards with this stuff as well. Like, you know, the guitar world is, despite the kind of steps that have been taken over the last, you know, couple of years and stuff, the guitar world is still like a complete boys club. And it's you know, even you see it on, you know, the Guitar Nerds forum, you see it on the Gear Slam, you see it on 60 Cycle Harm, and like I think that the people involved are quite good at like stamping it out and, you know, not tolerating it. But like it's just important to like not be like, haha, this not us though, right, guys? Not me. Totally. Like, well, you know.
And it's crazy that like I could post a video of me just like sitting there playing guitar and people would like make fun of me for not being good at guitar or whatever. But like if a woman posts a video of them playing guitar, half the comments or more are about her appearance.
About
her being a woman or, you know, whatever it is. And it's like, if anything, they should be making fun of me for my appearance. But like, you know, but
they do.
So it's such a boys club and always has been, you know.
Yeah, and you know, I definitely think that like Fender, I think has done a really good job of kind of being a bit more inclusive with the type of people that are involved with like their marketing and like some of the signature models, and you know, a lot of companies have kind of realized, okay, hang on a sec, I think we really need to step up our game.
You're starting to see a lot of signature artists, a lot of women signature artists, and you have to kind of think like, I don't know who that is off the top of my head, but that's why you need them as signature. You seek them out and say, oh, there's their music, and you know, learn about it and stuff. That's how signature artists are supposed to be, and they kind of have to go out of their way to get some of these names out there, you know.
Completely. And you know, I think that the importance of the work that was done by She Shreds should never be underplayed. I think it was just like such an important turning point for kind of guitar media, and like the work that Fabi did and that Cynthia did with the actual editorial of a magazine, I think was just amazing. And it has forced people to, you know, you look at, I think it was the first edition of She Shreds when that came out, and there was that picture of that with Guitar Player magazine or one of the big American magazines that had, you know, check out the 10 hottest rock chicks in planet Earth today. Like you had that next to next to like, you know, this edition of She Shreds, and it's like that rightly when you know, gave people kind of pause for thought. And
Yeah.
you know, we can all kind of take steps
So-
to do things a little bit better, I think.
Have you guys how familiar are you guys with the Bon Appetit the podcast is Reply All.
Reply All, yeah.
Cole, are you familiar with?
I've heard of it.
Okay, so what
Because
happened
it's
is
like it's a very popular podcast.
yes. What happened was, so you see what happened was they decided they were going to do a podcast. What had happened? That's what it was. What had happened was they decided they were going to do a podcast about the food magazine and how it was and the issues with
Bullying.
but yeah, like being racial insensitivity is like putting it mildly, but not it was white people making ethnic food is kind of like how the very
Like appropriation kind of thing.
yes. And then they were like, well, what? So this is happening, and they're like, oh, we should do a story about it. And then they start doing a story about it, and then as they're doing a story about it, the people of Reply All are like, you know, we have some issues with racism.
You're basically it's the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they kind of got called out for, and it was so weird. Like, I love Reply All. That it's
Same.
like it's one of my favorite pieces, like, let alone podcasts. It's one of my favorite pieces of media. I thought they were really good at what they did, and you know, they kind of moved over to Spotify, and it got a little bit kind of like cleaner and a little bit slicker. But in general, I think they did a good job of kind of keeping the core thing together.
Yeah.
But when they did that kind of like expose on when they first announced, oh, we're going to be doing this expose on Bon Appetit, I was like, this doesn't seem very Reply All. Like, I don't really know what they're doing. And yeah, the whole thing just, it was them. It was exactly what I was just sort of talking about there, in terms of like, they weren't looking inwards. They were saying, they weren't being like, well, hang on a sec, what about us? Like, what are we doing wrong here? You know,
and then because they had barreled forward, then it started coming out like literally as they're posting episodes, and they haven't released. Did you listen to the most recent one where they talked about?
No, I saw that, because I usually listen. So I usually listen to podcasts when I'm running, and because I had this operation, I'm like really far behind on everything. So I haven't listened to the most recent. But I saw Alex Goldman posted on Twitter. He basically said, like, listen, there's a new episode of Reply All. This is us basically trying to explain what we think we're going to do moving forward. And I haven't listened to it yet, but
yeah, it's super fascinating because they're talking about how and why everything happened, and they started putting the episodes together and then releasing them. And while they were released, it's like they had 2 more or something after that.
Yeah, I think they released 2,
but everything imploded. And then they were like, well, now it doesn't make sense to release these. It feels wrong. But it also, somebody and other people were like, well, why can't you just have somebody redo it? And it's like, well, okay, but then redoing it is like you can't have somebody jump in the middle. So they just kind of like, they just talked about how they can't do it and why.
It is difficult because, like, it seems like it was a story worth telling, but like, I don't know necessarily that it needed to come. First of all, I don't know necessarily that it needed to come from them. It felt like a bit of a departure from what they did. And secondly, like, yes, they've done this talk. They talked about all this stuff that was going on without looking inwards about the problems that were being caused, that they were contributing to themselves. And it's heartbreaking, really, because it was a great show, and, you know, they employed a lot of people, and it seems like a lot of those people, you know, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it's just such a shame that it's so easy for people to be like, look at these racist idiots.
Yes.
without like taking a sec to be like, well, hang on a sec, like how different is that from me, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's not even just like, are you like, because you're not even accusing them of being overtly racist. You're accusing them of not giving a voice to people of other races, right? Of like, you're basically standing in as their voice. And I think that's what happens a lot of times is like, should you be the one telling that story, or should it be people of color who are actually affected by it or whatever, you know?
well, yeah. And you know,
granted,
again,
granted, we
it's
are
so
three
easy
white
for
men
us.
here
Yeah, exactly. And it's so difficult because it's like, it's so easy for us to be having this conversation as, you know, it's exactly the same thing. Like it's difficult because like you want to be doing the right thing, but I don't know. I think it's, like I said, I think it's important to kind of look inward at what you can do and what you have done, and
listen
and raise up other people's voices where you can, you know.
Totally.
Yeah,
it's like the same mentality. It's such a dumb stereotype, but the whole idea that like a lot of men, you know, if their like wife or whatever tells them a problem, it's like they just want you to listen. They don't want you to fix it. But it is like it's kind of this, it kind of comes from the same attitude of like, there's a problem that exists and I need to do what I can to fix it. But maybe what you need to do to fix it right now is just to shut up or to raise somebody else's voice, like you're saying. You know?
Yeah.
Which is it's a hard thing to do, you know?
So yeah, it's it is hard, and it's, yeah, I don't know. I think it's just listening and kind of like, even if it's just like, you know, retweeting stuff rather than like quote tweeting it. Do you know what I mean? Like that, I feel quite strongly about. Like, people are so keen to add their opinion when you could just, you don't have to be like, oh yeah, right on. This is great. Just hit retweet. Like you don't have to always like add your 2 cents. Like simply by, and you know, I realize it's dumb just talking about things from the perspective of Twitter, but like, it's just, that seems to me like such an easy thing to just retweet. You don't need to be like, yeah, me too. Yeah. Right on. Like, you know,
it is an interesting function though, that like, it is a function built into Twitter that exposes this deeper sort of mindset that people have.
Yes.
And they have to make themselves a part of it. I mean, just like how I just said, like, oh, I was at the World Trade Center right before 9/11. It's the same thing. Or like, Phil, didn't you have a friend who was at that Las Vegas shooting, or like they were going to be or something?
I think that was
like,
Aaron.
Anytime something happens, it's like, oh, this celebrity died. I remember the first time I and me, and you know, and it's like, no, just get out of the way, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Ooh, that was well, I'm glad we've done our bit, guys. I think we can we can comfortably we can comfortably check off our social justice quota for the day.
Tax.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
We can be racist and sexist now for like
the remaining half
two
an hour.
at least,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah, easily.
So I still, every time you say look inwards, I can't help but think of that Harris Whittles joke where he says my psychiatrist said look inwards, and I thought he said look N-words. So as you're making this serious, anyways.
Yeah. Yes. Jay, you said look inward like 5
I did.
times.
I said it a lot. Yeah.
Look N-word.
And I kept looking at Cole to see if Cole is laughing.
See if I would laugh
at the phrase.
At my extremely serious, poignant point that I was,
exactly.
Yeah.
If you don't know Gun Street Wiring Shop by now, you must be living in the dark ages. They are the premier hand-built wiring solution for all of your guitars. I have one in my Telecaster. I have a setup in there, 5-way. It's great. Have it in my Jazzmaster. It's amazing. I actually put it in my Epiphone Dot, brought the thing back to life. It's crazy. If you don't have it, you need it. Every guitar that you own will be better with Gun Street Wiring Shop. I promise. Also, if you join the Street Crew, you get a discount on the product, and I guarantee you'll enjoy it. If you get it and you don't like it, I will punch Cole in the face. That's my guarantee. Check it out right now at gunstreetwiringshop.com.
Okay, should we play some games with the time we have?
We have some games. One of
You want to play some games, Jay?
Yeah, let's play some funky games.
All right. What games shall we play first, Cole?
Should we play your game just in case we run out of time? My game's less important. I have some stash it, smash it, trash it.
Jay has told us in the past that this is one of his favorite things. I think, was it in the entire universe or was it just from our podcast? I'm not really sure. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's. I think you need to bear in mind the fact that the last time we were together, Andy Kim had just force fed me a bowl of Jack Daniels.
A literal bowl.
A bowl. Yes.
And so anything that I said after about 5 minutes after walking into your apartment, just take it with a pinch of salt, you know.
Okay.
Man.
Okay. So
No. It's the thing is like, because I was listening a couple of weeks ago to when Andy was doing this game with you, and it is like, you know, it's fine when I'm running along the seafront being like, you idiots, how are you not guessing this, you idiots? And then like you're involved in the game and you're like, oh.
yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's do it. Let's do it.
Is that called backseat quarterbacking?
Yeah, Monday
that is?
morning quarterback.
Okay. All right. So let's get started with everyone's favorite game on both sides of the pond. Guess that pedal review. This first review is by Fizz. It's a 5-star review. Absolute bargain of a reviewed on July 21st,
Bill.
2018.
Bill, you
Bill.
roboted.
Yes.
That wasn't the irony. You have not roboted
no.
the entire time, and then somehow right now it
You
stopped.
I think me and Cole are both just like, wow, this dramatic pause is
Yeah,
tension is
very
building.
dramatic. You said absolute bargain, and then it was silent for 5 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, start us over.
That was the last thing you heard?
Yeah.
Yeah, just start at
Okay.
the beginning.
So the review is by Fizz. It is a 5-star review titled Absolute Bargain of a Pedal Description. Reviewed in the United Kingdom on July 21st, 2019. The review is as follows.
18 months ago. 2 years ago.
Yes.
Pre-COVID.
Yes. You get all the warm, muddy tones you want and expect from a pedal description. The maximum effect time isn't that long, but for shorter pedal description, like it delivers the goods and generally enhances your overall guitar tone. Responds well to conjunction with modulation, pedal effect, reverb effects, and can achieve a decent faux reverb by itself. Solid metal chassis makes it built like a tank in terms of durability, and the uncomplicated 3 dials make it easy to adjust settings on the fly. Basically, what you're getting is a basic, no frills pedal effect, providing a quality version of pedal effect that doesn't sound cheap, but is incredibly cheap to purchase. What's not to love?
Okay, I think we both might know what this is. Do you have an obvious guess for what you think this is, Jay?
I mean, it's an analog delay of some sort.
Yeah, my
I-
thought
I-
was just
A carbon copy.
yeah.
That was what I thought
right?
as well, right up until he said it's super cheap. Which
yeah.
the carbon copy is still like 150 quid or whatever.
150. Is it a carbon copy?
It is not a carbon copy.
Is it the Ibanez? Is it the Ibanez Mini delay?
It is not.
Is it
The
a
Ibanez
TC
Mini.
pedal?
It is.
Okay, so it's the
Oh,
TC. Yeah, one of the. So it's whatever the cheap, like I can't remember what they were.
Like the Behringer series.
The Behringer. Yeah. Well, yeah. So it was like
Is it?
Is it called like no? The Ghost is the Ghost Echo is
That's Boss.
Earthquaker. The Ghost Echo is
Earthquaker.
Earthquakers. It's not them. So it's is it pink?
It is not pink.
Okay.
Oh, is it? It's brown, isn't it?
It is brown.
Oh.
Crap! I remember.
Yeah.
It's something Echo. It's something Echo. I think. Is that?
Is
true,
it
Phil?
Tank Echo or?
Echo is in the name.
Oh. Does
Does
it start with Echo?
It does start with Echo.
Ah,
Echo something
not gonna get it.
analog delay.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna Echo Park. Echo Park? No.
damn.
No.
Echo. You're gonna have to just tell us, Phil.
Yeah, I'm
Echo
That's as close as we're gonna
Brain.
get.
Echo Brain. Okay.
Echo
Oh, man.
Brain.
I wouldn't have gotten that in a million years.
No, I don't think I would have either. But we got to we
You
got to
it,
the
though.
we got there pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Yes, you did.
We knew it was an analog delay, obviously.
And the fact that the fact that it's cheap and that you went to TC Electronic, like, what was it, a year or two ago that they just put out like just a buttload of these cheaper giant.
Well, it was after they merged with World Music Corporation, and so they're basically like, in theory, they're basically just Behringer pedals.
I
But they're
think
just
it was
new.
I think it was longer ago than you think actually.
Was it?
I
Yeah,
think
it
it
was-
I think
it
it
was
might
like-
have been like 2017 or 2016.
Wow.
Yeah,
I think it was 2016, 2017 that those came out. And so like some of them were great. The I've got the Third Dimension here, which is I don't know, it looks it's the same, weirdly the same color as the Boss Dimension C, and it has the same, weirdly it has the same functionality as the Boss Dimension C, which I think is just and the name is really similar, but I think it's a coincidence. But I've got that,
Yeah.
and that's a great pedal.
yeah. They came out in 2016.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Whoa, that's
Yeah,
wild. Well, we've established that I'm not good with timelines. That's been
no.
proven time and time
Strymon.
again. on the
Strymon.
podcast.
Once
Strymon,
you reach a
Strymon.
certain age, yeah.
All the
Once you reach a
years
certain age, it all kind of blurs
together.
together.
Yes. Okay. The next review is okay. I'm gonna read two short reviews for this pedal.
Ooh, a 2 for 1, bloody lovely.
Yes, this review is by Zippo Fan. 5-star review.
What a weird thing.
The
That's
the
the
light,
name. That's
the
their
lighter or the
name.
circus. I wonder.
That's their name on Amazon. When they write Amazon reviews, it's everything is Zippo. I'm maybe.
Fan.
Does that mean that your first review was of Zippo lighters? Is that
Zippo.
like? Is that
No,
probably,
like you would
I
have
don't know.
had to put that in.
yeah,
It would-
yeah.
it's not
You
like
because
you get
otherwise you're just like
automatically
Amazon
assigned a name.
customer, I think, aren't you? Like,
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
I mean,
that's funny.
big fan of the old Zippos. I mean, top quality lighters. What can I tell you?
They are.
You know,
They are
Yeah, I mean,
a classic.
the
Yeah.
Rolls Royce of why light a cigarette with anything less than a Rolls Royce? You know.
Exactly.
Okay, Zippo Fan 5-star review titled "Great Buy," reviewed in the United States on March 1st, 2016. I was pleasantly surprised at the versatility of this pedal effect. The tone stack works great from just a little extra sparkle to full-on crunch. Well worth checking out. Okay, and then the next review is short and by I'm going to butcher this name. John Jarrow Apache Hernandez.
Okay.
5-star review.
I just love how you were like, I'm gonna butcher this name. John.
Hey, but it's
John.
yes. I'm sorry. John.
Okay.
Okay.
And I was like, I guess I'll just go John, but I don't. That doesn't.
Okay.
I mean, so sorry. Yes, John. Yeah.
After that whole
5-star
discussion
review.
about racial sensitivity, you had the gall to try and pronounce this guy's name.
I'm a walking contradiction. I'm an imperfect man. 5-star review. The pedal is excellent. What I like is the tone that ranges.
Yes.
United States, March 5th, 2016.
The tone that ranges. That's poetic.
The pedal is excellent. What I like is the tone that ranges from very soft until a saturation type amplifier tubes. Okay. That's what you got to go on. Now,
That was a
if you'd like, there's a 2-paragraph review. Those were both 5 stars. I could read a 1-star
Oh, yeah, we got it.
paragraph.
obviously.
We got
Okay.
if we've got a couple of good old boys. We need to hear,
Gotta hear the
Okay.
1-star.
negative Nelly.
Yeah.
See what they've
Okay,
got going
so here this is a review, same pedal. Vicente, 1-star review. I was expecting not to have the same very poor quality control. Reviewed in the United States, June 9th, 2017. The pedal name arrived before the estimated delivery date, but again, without working properly. I should mention that as a second buy of this same product, I was expecting not to have the same very poor quality control. It seems to me that the pedal I received was not tested at all before leaving the pedal brand facility. As a simple connect and hit the foot switch test may indicate these problems. This was a frustrating experience. I am very disappointed with the U.S. company quality control. Next paragraph. I would recommend instead the Joyo JF01. If you want a low price classic overdrive pedal.
So I think we
I said
reduced
yes.
that much. That's fine.
We had sussed that out, I think.
Okay. Well-built basic controls or the amazing True Tone V3 Jekyll and Hyde overdrive and distortion pedal built like a tank, lots of controls, Hyde range, overdrive, and distortion. If you are a big fan of the Strokes, you would like to have similar tones, even if you have to pay more. Shame on you, pedal company.
Okay, so it says that it's an American
I'm think
pedal company.
it's
What-
like harmonics, right?
Was the pedal made in the US? Do you know?
I do not know. I can't
Okay.
imagine that it is, but
Okay.
I mean, is it Electro Harmonics?
Oh,
it is.
okay.
Yeah. Is it a soul food?
It is not a soul food.
Is it? Oh my gosh. Okay. Is it the East River Drive?
Oh, yeah.
It is not the East River Drive.
It's a good shout, though.
What other drive pedals do EHX do? Is it any sort of muff? Is muff in the title whatsoever?
Muff is not in the title.
Okay.
Is it like their standard kind of smaller size that's just painted on the top and silver on the sides? And single pedal
This
size?
one is white on the sides, but it is single pedal size. Yes.
White on the sides. The Canyon? No. Canyon. No.
Canyon is a delay, right?
That's the Keeley delay, isn't it?
Oh,
white on the side.
the EHX crayon.
It is.
Crayon was okay.
Is that what
It is the crayon.
Nice. Yes.
Weren't
That
there
is-
two?
Six,
Did JHX
69 quid for Cole.
They do actually cost about that, don't they?
Probably something like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Was there
Crayon-
was there another crayon? Was there like a JHS crayon?
I feel like there was a JHS that came out around the same sort of time. Yeah.
that was such a weird
And then-
thing.
And then the what I really liked
At the
about
same
that,
time.
yeah, what I really liked about that, the Electro Harmonix one was the because you know how they sometimes do those like crossover pedals, like the Epitome and the Green Onions and stuff, where they have like
Yeah.
two of their existing pedals in one.
Yeah.
So they did the Crayon and the hot tube, the hot tubes, which they then just called the like hot wax or something.
Yeah, the
'Cause,
hot
like,
wax.
you know,
yeah.
if you have the two together,
That's
then it's just
rad.
that's all you're going to end up with. It's
And the artwork
like
on it
genius
is
bit of
really
marketing.
good too. It's like a melted crayon on top of a tube, I think.
yeah. Is the Electro Harmonix pedal marketing is always so wildly different. Like I feel like they have two different people involved in
Seriously.
like the design work, because sometimes you get this like really utilitarian kind of like
Yeah.
retro, like not retro, but like kind of like
It's like they have one
Stripped
guy
back
from
design.
TC. It's like they have one guy from TC Electronic and one guy from like Earthquaker or something.
and they just like kind of because you think about
They
like
take-
the
they pick and choose which ones they're gonna design.
Yeah.
you know?
yeah exactly really
Like
funny.
the soul food is just the word soul food written on a
Yeah.
pedal in some
Yeah.
font, you know.
Yeah.
That was a great pedal though. That and the bass as well, the soul food bass. Like I really like the soul food bass for guitar because it had like the. Sorry, I don't mean to diverge too much into talking about guitar stuff, but
No, this is perfect.
the soul food bass had a blend control, which I think is.
Yeah.
I really struggle with pedals in general that like don't have a blend control nowadays. I just think it's such an integral part. No, you know, I think it's an integral part of like how, because I want stuff to be so subtle.
Yeah.
Just you know,
And
'cause I need
also,
my
like,
excellent guitar playing to come through.
The only argument, like, you might as well have a blend control and you can turn it all the way down.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly,
totally.
exactly. And I just think that the soul food bass just made like such a difference to like having that blend control in there. Just made such a difference. I thought it sounded great on guitar, really good on guitar.
Jeez, I never tried the bass one. I bought and sold a couple soul foods just because I like anytime I get on Craigslist, like for a while it was like, okay, I'll give you, you know, this much money for all the pedals that you're selling, and then sell them off one by one.
And there was always
Like, it was always a soul food in the mix. And but like I liked it for, you know, what you're paying. I thought it was a great pedal, but I never tried the bass.
Yeah, and it was a great pedal. And you know, for a long time, it was kind of the only, Klon style transparent overdrive. It was the only kind of like, kind of quote unquote Klon style pedal on the market that wasn't mega money. And
yeah, exactly.
and then there was that and like the J Rocket Archer, and then obviously other people
But
came
even
along
that
like
was
the Tumnus and
$200,
stuff.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And you're right. The soul
was
food
always-
was like, they were like 70 quid when they came out. It was crazy. So
That's-
cheap.
That was so funny about the clones, like that were still so expensive. Because it's
Right.
like,
Yeah.
like if you're gonna clone a pedal, you might as well just make it affordable, right?
Yeah.
And I know
Yeah,
some of
except
them
they
they
were-
like add features and stuff like that.
But they were doing it because they could, though, right? Because the name was so, like, people wanted it so bad, and it's like, listen, I don't have $3,000, I don't have $1,500. Okay, what about $200? Yeah, and so then it's like,
But
it's literally, just copying. Some of them were just a straight copy, and they're still charging like $200 or $250.
But the thing
Yeah.
that's weird, it's like the Prince of Tone for me. Like the KTR exists, and you can buy it, and they're like less than $250, right?
Not anymore, I don't think. Because
Oh,
I think
well,
I think the waiting list is I think again like that has now kind of ended up being on. I think you're on like a waiting list style of ordering
because
system.
it used to be that like the KTR was like the one you could
Was it-
just
totally,
buy.
yeah. Yeah. But
But, yeah,
I
except-
don't think it's easy to get anymore. I think he has like a big waiting list now.
That makes sense. I mean, maybe it's like the Timmy, right? The Timmy, in theory, would go in stock in places and stuff, but a lot of times it would just be out of stock.
Did you try the MXR Timmy?
I have not.
No, I have a Timmy already, and it's one of my favorite pedals. But if I didn't, I would buy an MXR one for sure.
Yeah. I've not tried it either. I tried the FOD, which was kind of the Dookie style pedal, which I thought was unbelievable. I thought it was fantastic, like a really, really great drive. I've not played the Dookie pedal,
really
but I
good.
assume it's like, I assume it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, I love the Dookie pedal. Honestly, I had that on my board. I still have like the original one,
Yeah,
with, like, the full artwork and everything. And it's a great pedal. I should sell it because I could probably sell it for way more than I bought it for.
Yeah.
But if I did, I would buy an FOD.
It's great. The FOD, I thought the FOD sounded fantastic, like really, really cool.
Like, it makes sense that the idea, the concept behind it is a really good idea, and then they also implemented it well. Like, they delivered on the idea,
Yeah.
I think so, at least. Yeah. It's way good.
Okay. Last review of the day, du jour. This is a doozy. This is a 2-star review by eBeep. The title is as
the
follows.
Roadrunner.
If you're curious about the spelling,
writing this review was painting a subway on the side of a mountain. Like,
yeah, exactly.
if you're curious about the spelling of this, it's EBEEP. All caps, by the way.
Oh, so just eBeep, just spelled like it sounds.
eBeep. So the title is Truly Stunning Effect Name Sounds, but it kinda murders my bypassed and dry tone. United States, March 24th, 2020. So we're right. This is right at the start of the pandemic.
Dude,
this guy
is
is
like early shut. This is like his first day working from home.
yeah.
He's like, I guess I should try this pedal out now that maybe I'm gonna be here longer than I think.
Yeah. I'm probably gonna be at home for a couple of weeks. Maybe I'll
a couple of weeks, maybe until the summer.
Okay. The review is as follows. The Effect are the most beautiful I've ever heard firsthand. I have a few 90s EHX pedals, and those are nearly impossible to beat. But this pedal sounds absolutely incredible. It would be a lifelong keeper if it weren't for the fact that it ruins my tone. With single coils and a Vox AC30, there's a significant amount of top-end information going on. Unfortunately, with this pedal in the signal path, even with the effect bypassed, it adds a honky mid-range peak while erasing all of the upper harmonics that make an AC30 an AC30. Again, this tonal alteration is present with the pedal disengaged as well as in the dry position of the affected signal. It took me back to my Blackface twin reverb days, which may not be an issue for Fender users, but an absolute deal breaker for anyone who cares about a top boost circuit. Such a shame. Even the housing is gorgeous. I will miss those sounds, but not nearly as much as I missed my tone when using it.
So dramatic.
Now,
so,
hang on, before you continue, before you jump in, then he wrote update, and there's more.
Wonderful.
It occurred to me after I returned the pedal name that I could have utilized the true bypass mode and presume that would solve the issue with the bypass signal. But as effect name is an always on effect for me, either as a subtle effect, true bypass still wouldn't have solved my problem with the dry signal. So not a solution for me, but maybe a solution for you. The silver lining is that this experience led me to try the other pedal name competitor, which was finally succeeded in kicking out my old EHX pedal name off the board for good. The pedal name of this other pedal is a beautiful pedal effect with 0 tonal compromises. The other pedal name input impedance is crazy low, 100K, and it bleeds off upper harmonics to ground like a 250K tone pot dialed back a bit. Not as bad or as much as the pedal name, though, at least in my experience. So, very long story short, I highly recommend trying the other pedal first.
So this is a 2-part. We got to guess both of those pedals, huh?
That's true. Yes. So they are competitors.
I love the idea that this guy, he like posts this pedal review, thought about it a lot, and then he's like rolling in bed at night, can't sleep, and he's like, I really got to go back and clarify that the true bypass switch is an option there. But
it's like that meme of like the couple laying in bed and the woman's like, oh no, he's definitely thinking about other women, and he's there thinking like, and another thing about this pedal. So I guess again, I feel like again this is an analog delay.
Is it just a memory man of some kind?
It is a delay. Oh wait, sorry. Both of these pedals that he's talking about are the same brand.
Oh, okay.
Not the one that he got off of his, but the two that he was saying are that he went with this one, and then the update is I tried a different one from the same company.
The same brand. Okay.
Oh, but they're not Electro-Harmonics.
Correct.
Oh,
is this a carbon copy?
This is a carbon copy.
Okay.
It makes me wonder, is it an analog delay?
There's
I'm
there's a lot of controls on this bad boy.
I'm thinking he's saying he has a 90s memory man of some kind, right?
That was my feeling as well. And this will be there is a certain type of working in a guitar shop, you encounter particular people who are interested in particular types of music, and often this will be someone trying to be Hank Marvin. So that's why they've got an AC30. I'm almost certain they will have the Strat will be red. The single coils that he's talking about will be attached to a Fiesta red Strat.
Oh my gosh.
They will be trying to replicate the sound of a tape echo of some sort.
Jay, I love this, and I want it. Is there a way that we can message this person and say, "Hey, I just got to ask. You did say single coil.
Yeah,
is it a red Strat?
It'll be a Fiesta red Strat. It'll be a Fiesta red Strat gold hardware. It always is. Like
gold hardware.
You just honestly Fiesta red Strat gold hardware.
Yeah.
They all people who bought AC30s. It's anyway, that's that's by the by. But yeah, it will be.
Or it's Brian May, right? If it's an AC30.
Potentially, yeah. But if it's like delays, then it's
yeah.
It's almost certainly someone going after this this Hank Marvin sound.
So you
which
don't
is a
know
great. Go on, sorry.
You don't know if it's an analog delay, Phil?
It is not. It is not stated anywhere on the pedal itself, and I'm not going to say yes. It is.
And you said it had it had a lot of controls.
It does.
Oh, and it also had one of them has an actual like blend control, right? Essentially, because he said you could turn it all the way dry or something, like a wet dry mix or something.
Oh no! I think he was talking about the fact that when you have the pedal disengaged, it's still
no. But he mentioned even when it's turned all the way off too, Because he mentioned one of the specific controls, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and it was, but I don't think it was a knob. I think it was it was turning
The
off
switch.
true bypass.
Yeah.
No. He says, what does he say in the first?
Oh no, you're right. You're right. No, you're right. He said in the first part, he says, I even with it turned all the way down, because it's an always on. Oh, this is.
Oh, so is it a Boss RE20?
It is not.
Okay.
Is it Boss?
It is not.
Is it? Oh, it's an always on pedal.
And you've got the option to switch between true bypass and buffered bypass.
Is it Strymon?
It is not Strymon.
Keeley, maybe? Is it a boutique brand?
We would consider this a boutique brand. Yes.
We're slipping back into our old tricks here.
Classic.
Classic question.
Is it big? Is it a big pedal? You said it's got a lot of controls.
It is not. It is
Oh,
not.
so there's a lot of controls.
Oh, is it Keeley?
It is not Keeley.
Oh, crap. I thought that was for sure. You know those ones like the caverns that has a billion little.
Yeah. Is it Earthquaker?
It is not Earthquaker.
I'm trying to think of
big.
like.
It's not even. It's like standard pedal size.
More or less, yes.
More or less. It's not Earthquaker.
Standard pedal footprint.
So what is it like? Like a double decker bus or something?
Is it?
Like you can slide your foot in between to like. That's how you access like the alternate sounds.
Is it like taller than a normal pedal?
I'm not sure if it's taller. It's just not a typical enclosure is what I was trying to not say.
It's not like a Thorpe something or other.
Not a Thorpe. It's
Zvex?
Not a Thorpe. It's not a Zvex.
Okay.
Thorpe are the ones with like the little cage above next to the knobs, right? Yeah, I like those.
Yeah, they're great. Dang. Sorry for the side plug, but Adrian is actually on an episode of Guitar Nerds in a couple of weeks, maybe a few weeks.
Oh, really?
Proper good old boy. He's a proper
he's
legend.
From like near Brighton or whatever, right? Or in the UK somewhere.
He lives in the UK. I don't actually know where he lives, but yeah, him and Mikey Demas, who do Redbeard effects.
Yeah.
Mikey of Skindred fame they did an episode with Matt and Joe a couple of weeks ago. So
I remember you talking about Thorpe. That was kind of where I was first introduced to him years ago on GK.
Right. Yeah.
Man.
But anyway, who haven't we met? We are really just going down the classic route of just naming.
It's not
seeing
what sticks.
JHS or Walrus?
Walrus.
Okay, I struggle. Walrus analog delay. Walrus delay.
Oh, is one of them the ARP87?
That is one of the pedals.
Nice.
Okay. And then the other one. Oh. Is it? It's not one of the Mako series, is it?
It is.
Was it the D1?
The D1.
Oh, nice.
Another 69 quid for Cole.
So that's the one that isn't the standard pedal enclosure.
Right.
Because it has that little
doesn't like this
lip
one.
at the front.
This is the one he doesn't like. And then he said he tried the AR59er.
ARP87.
What's that one called? Yes, that one. And he likes that one. And he says that's the one. That's the pedal
that
to end all pedal searches.
Interesting, because the D1 is like it's
expensive.
It is freaking expensive.
Yeah, I don't know much about these. Walrus is a brand that's kind of a little bit of a blind spot to me. Like I've got I've played the Julia and the Lillian, which I think are fantastic. But like actually, I haven't played a huge amount of the others. The ARP87 I think Joe Branton's got that, and I've always been really interested in that because it's like based on the ARP Odyssey, right? That's where the name comes from. The the synth.
Oh,
yeah.
I think that's that's my understanding is that's where that comes from, which is the Korg like 80s synth 70.
Oh, geez.
I think.
Okay.
That's where like that's what the like tonality of it is kind of based around.
Jay, if you ever have
pedals, like the 385 is kind of the same way, where it's based on this old. It's meant to mimic the preamp of an old projector amp.
Yeah. Actually, I say it's a bit of a blind spot. Actually, I've played that as well. So maybe it's not. Maybe I'm just being.
But they do have a huge line. I mean, they have so many.
They have a lot. Yeah. I was just gonna say, Jay, that is the 385 is. I love that pedal.
Okay.
I can't get rid of it. I've had it for a very long time, and even though I just kind of like I get sick of drives, and then I'm like, I want to try something different. That one, I just can't. Like, every time I start, I click everything on, and I start messing with stuff. I'm like, whoa, what is making that sound? Oh, it's a 385. It's so good. So, yeah, from crazy intense to down to subtle stuff.
And they have the Iron Horse, which is kind of a Rat clone, is one of my favorite Rats as well.
Oh.
They have a lot of good.
Right.
They must have had a Black Friday sale one year, and I bought like 5 of their pedals.
Oh right, okay.
Have since like sold most of them probably because that's what I do. But yeah, I remember liking pretty much all of them.
Yeah, I'm actually just flicking through the website, and the Slow I've tried, and I really like that. The Emissary I've tried, and I like that. Actually, I've tried loads of this.
Yeah.
Clearly not. These
are the guys that make these pedals.
Oh yeah. Cool. Okay, cool, good. As long as
they've become one of those few boutique brands that's also just like super mainstream as well.
Yeah.
Right. That's why I was like, is it boutique? I mean,
and they have a huge offering now.
I think it is. Yeah.
They're not boutique in the same way that like Chase Bliss or Strymon are, because they have so many pedals. They're more like JHS or whoever. Earthquaker has a million too.
Yeah. It's amazing that you can, because they're an independent company. I mean, my understanding is, it's fully independent, and just like having the kind of engineering know-how to be able to put together such a wide variety of pedals.
Exactly.
And for them to continue to be like cool and interesting. Like the Lillian and the Julian, I think are fantastic. And like Phaser is like, I mean, Phaser and Chorus are they're pretty low down my priorities list when I'm looking at.
Yeah, and they're pretty easy together to sounds. Make them not. There are plenty of not interesting Phasers and Choruses.
Yeah. But I think those are really, really cool. And so to be able to kind of, I've always been kind of in awe of companies who are able to just like, Drive, no worries, man. No worries. 6 months later, what's that? Chorus, here you go, bloody lovely. Phaser, why not? Here we go. It's amazing that you've got the time to be able to do that, as well as ensure that maybe they're not ensuring that quality doesn't drop as EB has publicly shamed them for.
Right. This could be the beginning of the end. Back in, when was this? It was
March 2020.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, to think that like a global pandemic is just hitting, and like March 2020, that was a crazy time. Partially for me because we also had an earthquake, like literally the first day I started working from home. We had like an almost 6 magnitude earthquake.
Didn't it happen whilst you were recording?
No. Well, we had an aftershock. We had a pretty good aftershock when we were recording though.
Yeah.
And every aftershock like makes you crap your pants, especially because I'm on the 2nd floor, so the house just like sways, But that is like, to think that he was like starting a pandemic, and that's what he was. I got to go back to the Amazon review. For that.
Does it say that? Does it say the date of when the?
It doesn't say the update. I don't know if it would keep the date that he.
I think it might be the most recent date. So I think the initial review might have been before March 20th.
Oh, okay. Maybe. Okay. Oh, that's a shame. That would have been cool if it had been like 6 months later or something. It really is like
still working stuck in my room. Yeah. I've been thinking about this a lot.
Listen, it's just,
sorry guys.
This is like a a vlogger or whatever. Just like, hey guys, just to keep you back in touch. I know everyone was really upset about my review of the of the D1, and I just want to let you know, like, no shame on Walrus. They make some great products elsewhere. I don't want anyone to think I'm a hater. Like, you know.
I feel bad that I'm affecting their bottom line. I don't want to affect anyone's livelihood,
Right.
especially in difficult times like these, you know.
Also, like, clearly they just had a faulty one. Just like, just send it back and get a replacement. Like,
that would be
if it's in
what I
there's
would
definitely
suspect.
there's definitely just like a you know, a dry joint or something with the wiring or something is like
Yeah.
off. If it's cutting off the high end, then there's just
Exactly.
like an issue with that one, and just get it switched over.
Right, especially for a freaking pedal that costs like 300. I think something's wrong
dude.
with this one.
Yeah.
It can't be like a flaw in the design.
Why have none of the reviews meant that I've watched
Yeah, right,
mentioned
exactly.
the fact that this specific issue? How has nobody talked about
Yeah.
this? It's crazy.
They're all just happy with it, spending $300 on a thing that
Won't let me
do
sound like
this
Hank
crazy.
Marvin.
I love the idea too of a guy just trying to sound like Hank Marvin with a $300 delay pedal, you know.
Honestly, it's wild. There's like Shadows clubs over here in the UK where people just get together and talk about the Shadows. Like, and when I say clubs, I don't mean like, I mean like there are buildings that are called the, you know, south of England,
Shadows.
the southeast of England
Yeah.
Shadows Club. Like, there are people who've put
Shadows chapter.
Yeah. I mean, you know, they were a big band. You know, they were a big band. They were like kind of the predecessor to the Beatles to a degree. Well, you know, in terms of like popularity in the UK. You know, they were a big band, but like, it's crazy to think that would exist nowadays. Just people being like, "Oh yeah, I'm just off to
Well, it couldn't
just off to
because
Metallica club." you know?
everyone had the same band because there only was one Beatles at the time. So everybody that's 65 years old now, their favorite band was the Beatles, but we all had different bands, you know.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I would join a 90s pop punk or ska, you know, chapter where somebody else would join, you know, whatever,
Yeah.
grunge or something. It's such an interesting. I honestly don't know much about the Shadows.
Hank Marvin play guitar. Seems like an all right fella, as far as I can
know
tell.
him. He's like famous as a guitarist.
Yeah.
know?
Yeah,
And he's
and they
probably
were.
had a million signature strats, right?
He's had he had the he had a signature Strat, and he's also had a signature Burns because he played Burns in kind of the early days. But because it's
Okay.
theorized that he probably had the first Fender in the UK. Because
Really?
they brought Cliff Richard brought it over he brought it back from when he did a tour of the US without the Shadows. He brought a red Strat back in. It's a 57, I think, or 50. I think it's a 57 Strat was his, and that was the first time that a Fender ever made it into the UK. Apparently, whether it's true or not is difficult to know. But yeah, he brought that over, and it was just like, wow, look at this. You know, because the Beatles didn't have Fenders until like that was kind of because of contractual agreements.
Like, you never amps maybe, but you never associate the Beatles with any real specific guitar, right? Maybe it's like Gretsch or like the Hohner bass or something.
The Hohner bass, yeah, like Macca played the Hohner bass. Like, he's played other stuff, but like primarily it was the violin bass. And George Harrison, like, he had like a few guitars, but like the Gretsch, the Jet, and the Country Gent, I think, the big brown one.
Yeah.
And I think like Lennon played the I think he was mainly Rickenbacker, but like he's also like
that's true.
The early days he had that Rickenbacker, but he also played the Casino, and then towards the end they were playing Strats.
But they weren't like the people who they are known for a Strat or a Les Paul, or you know.
No, not really. But I watched I don't know if you've seen 8 Days a Week, which is the Ron Howard biopic on the Beatles. Like, I watched that last week, and it's really good, really, really good. Like, the quality of the foot, you know, you think back to the fact that some of this footage is from the early 60s. Yeah. It's incredible. It's unbelievable. Like, the quality of the footage and the quality of the recording and stuff. But I would really recommend that. I thought that was a really quality watch.
My dad and my stepmom went to some, like, I don't know how they heard about it, because they're not the kind of, you know, cultured people that would find out about something like this, but it was, we were living outside of LA, and they heard about somewhere down in LA there was doing a double feature of 8 days a week. And I think the movie Help, like the Beatles, it was like it was a double feature of both at some like cool LA artsy theater, some small place. And so they go into this lobby, and my dad said he's looking around, and it was like kind of crowded. There were a lot of people there for, the size that it was. And he turns, and like, he probably could have reached out and touched him. He's like, I feel like I know those two faces. And it was Tom Hanks and what's his wife? Is it Gina something? She's an actress,
Davis. Not
not nearly as famous as he is. And did you say Gina Davis? It's definitely not Gina Davis. And they were that
Rita
far
Wilson?
away.
Rita Wilson.
What was it? Rita Wilson,
Rita
yes.
Wilson.
And they're like holding, their tickets, and they're like shuffling towards and he was like, whoa. Oh, and I believe this was it must have been during or right before filming of
Castaway.
yes. He had a huge beard, and he was walking through the crowd, and nobody was going, like, no one was doing the look at that. Nobody's
Hey,
doing
look,
that.
it's literally the most famous actor in the world. Like,
Yeah, but my dad elbowed my stepmom. He's like, look, and she's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "That's Tom Hanks." And they both recognized Rita Wilson first, and then they're like, "Who's that?" Oh my, that's freaking Tom Hanks. And because he's like a massive, massive Beatles fan, that he
right.
heard about it, and he was like, "Oh, I gotta go."
Amazing.
That's hilarious.
So good.
Yes, he doesn't have very many stories like that, but that's one of his favorite ones.
It's a good one. We have,
Like you
even
said,
less.
like one of the most famous people.
Yeah.
Man. Well, guys, it's been great. It's been a lot of
It
fun.
has.
Jay, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's been really fun to peek behind the proverbial curtain.
Mhm.
And
Without
let me tell you, it looks fantastic back here.
It's beautiful.
without bowls of whiskey.
yeah.
A sober, a mostly sober recording session.
A sobering recording session.
It's sobering too. We hit some very serious topics.
Yeah,
we-
wow.
yes,
What a
we
journey.
did.
What a wild.
So we're not going to wait 2 years before we have you on again, Jay.
Cool. Thank you.
Rest
Well,
assured.
always good to hang out with the crew. And if you next time you see Aaron, pass on my love and
We will.
respect, I guess maybe. But love is fine. Ignore the bit I said about respect. Love is fine. Pass on my
Just give him love. Got it.
Yeah.
We will
Okay.
give him love.
We will
Okay.
pass on the love.
Thank you.
Thanks
Well,
for friendship.
Thanks for friendship.
Thanks for friendship.